I will always call this my home sweet home.
Mountains and blue skies, big city skylines, built up by schemers, heavenly dreamers. Out on the highway, those endless white lines, chasing abandon, tempted my chances. I was heading nowhere, rolling along without one care. Till that one moment, I saw you rolling the window down. You were singing, riding shotgun, half line in the wind, and that smile. I knew you were meant to be my one love. I'd follow anywhere over any million miles. Oceans and distance, paths of resistance came in between us, no rhyme or reason. Now that I found you, I know I had to see what I was missing. So long just drifting, now we're headed somewhere, rolling along without one care. Live in the moment, radio up and the windows roll down. You were singing, riding shotgun, half line in the wind, and that smile. I knew you were meant to be my one love. I'd follow anywhere over any million miles. To the highest mountain top, no matter where you go, I'm gonna follow. And I've got your hand in mine, never gonna let go, never gonna let go. You were singing, riding shotgun, half line in the wind, and that smile. I'll follow you into the wild, wild sun. You were singing, riding shotgun, half line in the wind, and your smile. I'll be around to be my wild one. I'll follow anywhere over any million miles.
Good evening and welcome to the Chandler City Council study session. We are going to call this meeting to order, and clerk, if you would please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Here.
Vice Mayor Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next thing on our agenda tonight are scheduled public appearances. We have service recognitions and civic graduation recognitions. So for our service recognitions, let me hand this over to our acting city manager and Councilmember Harris, if you please join me up front.
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council. For our one and only service recognition tonight, I'd like to ask Leah Powell, our Neighborhood Resources Director, to come forward and make her presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I would like to ask Zelda Hernandez to please come forward. In 1996, Zelda Hernandez joined the City of Chandler as a housing specialist. Over the years, she has had experience with every housing specialist task, as she has worked with both public housing and Section 8 programs. Zelda brings high energy and commitment to everything she does and is a valued teammate, not only because of her industry knowledge, but also because she truly cares about her clients and continues to go above and beyond to assist them. Zelda is a natural leader and is often sought out for her advice. She is usually the first to volunteer, and her heart is truly in everything she does. Zelda cares about her clients, coworkers, and Chandler. Congratulations, Zelda, for 25 years of service. It is a true testament. It's a true testament to your dedication to your teammates and clients, and we appreciate you and are thankful that you're part of our team. At least I heard that and I'm holding you to it. I'm gonna.
Next on our agenda tonight, we will be recognizing our civic graduates. So this program was started earlier this year to provide our residents a behind-the-scenes look at city services and to help residents connect with their government. Over the past few months, I hope you've seen the Chandler that City Council, hope you've seen that City Council and staff work hard every day to achieve a safe, diverse, equitable, inclusive community that connects people, chooses innovation, and inspires excellence. And I hope that this experience has been valuable and that you will continue to engage with the city and our larger community. Your successful participation in Civic shows that your commitment to making your voice heard at a time when civic engagement is more important than ever can be done. And really that is the core of this word, is civic engagement. And we want to thank all of you for participating. I do also want to thank all of our numerous city staff throughout our many departments that have worked hard over the past year to stand up this program and ensure its success. I had the opportunity to meet many of you for coffee, as well as speak to a good share of you last Wednesday at your final session. But I do want to say again, thank you and congratulations for participating in our inaugural civic cohort. As I shared on Wednesday, we do look forward to you giving us input and working with Alexa to make this program even better. So at this point, I'd like to call up Alexis Apodaca to help hand out certificates. And then we'll take a picture with everybody afterwards.
All right, civic participants, once I call you up to receive your certificates, if you can just stay up here so we'll take a group picture. Angel Del Vecchio, Brian Fox, Calvinia Malloy, Cynthia Hans, David Lucas, Diamond Batkin, Eric Morgan, Aaron Fortner, Gabby Lepore, Jessica Morgan, Jim Montgomery, Julia Palazzi, Linda Recker, Win Lee, Polly Nate, Sandra Jaime, Susan Jacob, and Tracy Fitzhugh.
Great looking shirts. Alexa, can you come up to this?
I gotta sit up. I gotta find my. It's my window.
We're gonna get this, I promise. Nobody knows. But I wanna see certificates. Even back here? No, not. If you want to, yeah. Looks good, thank you.
Thank you. So the cup of coffee offer still stands. You know how to reach out to me. That's all for our announcement. Next on our agenda is consent items that have been called in by council. Councilmember Christine Ellis is the winner today. And we'll start off with item number 1 with Councilmember Ellis.
Sure. Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, Councilmember Ellis, I'd like to ask Steve Turner, our acting airport manager, to come forward. He'd be happy to make a short presentation and address any questions you may have.
And is this for items 1 and 2 or just 1?
At the same time?
Let's do it.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council. We'll start with the wildlife exclusion fence along the perimeter of the airport. This project was actually identified through the airport bond subcommittee process this past year, and it was originally slated for fiscal year 2022-2023. And this would provide better access and would provide increased safety at our airport by putting a metal barrier into the ground so that critters won't be able to burrow underneath the fencing and get onto our runways. That could potentially cause accidents in the future. ADOT approached us about a month ago and offered about a 70% grant, which would leave us on the hook for approximately about $300,000, a little bit more than that. At the time, we said no because we knew that this project was a high priority with the FAA and ADOT because of its importance to the safety of the airport. And we knew that it had a high priority getting 90% funded the following year. Well, the next week, ADOT approached us again and said that instead of 70%, they offered us 90%. And due to some savings from other projects, we're able to move this capital project up a year and get it completed with a 90% grant match. And with that, be open to any questions.
Mayor,
Councilmember.
the reason why I called this one is because I thought that this was such a great news for the people of Chandler to hear what a great work that you're doing, looking at what we need, when we need it, and how we're going to approach to do it. I want to send kudos to ADOT for coming back to us, and you're able to take that 90% and then now finding the rest of it through other projects shows how fiscally responsible that we are in this city, and we are able to move projects based on you doing a lot of work in your department to make that happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And item number 2.
All right, this this project is for the head wall construction along the runway 4 left 22 right. This project was identified through the annual runway safety action team. And originally we had budgeted for this project about $180,000. And due to the significant increase in construction costs, the bids came over what we had originally budgeted. And credit to Chris Andres, our airport planning administrator, and his knowledge and expertise with the FAA. Reached out to the FAA and found that they had additional monies that they could award towards us. And it turns out it was going to be a 100% grant match instead of us having to pay the entirety of the bill. So again, this is kudos to Chris Andres and his expertise finding us some money so it doesn't cost the residents anything to improve and increase and maintain the safety at the airport.
Mayor,
Councilmember.
thank you again. A job well done. What I wanted people of Chandler to also realize is that we can get things done. There are other ways we can go about to find the monies. And so it's important for us to say yes to some projects because we need the money to get them done. But at the same time, we're going to do everything that we can to find money elsewhere to make sure that those projects are pushed forward. Really appreciate it that you guys, another big kudos to Chris. And I know that he cannot be here. You guys give him some time off. But this was really, really hard work on his part to make sure not only that we get money to do this project, but above what we needed, we had that amount. Thank you so much to your department for doing that.
Thank you.
Mayor, any other questions? Councilmember Orlando.
Real quick, Mayor. So this, I know we're going at least 3 feet, which obviously we don't want anybody borrowing, which I appreciate that. But this will be not just a chain link fence. This will be a little bit decorative, a little bit more inviting than just a chain link fence.
Typically, it is a chain link fence that provides that barrier, but also goes down underneath. But it is more consistent for what we currently have at the airport. It's just the added measure is putting that metal sheet.
Okay,
to
so
keep all the barriers.
that's the key right now. The metal sheet that was my concern too about burrowing under the. Okay, thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, seeing none, thank you. Next item called in, item number 11 by Vice Mayor Stewart and Councilmember Ellis. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Can I get a little bit of background on why this was moved from low density to mid? Just kind of curious about that as it relates to the area plan.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mayor. Councilman, thank you for that question. I will scroll through a presentation to get to a slide on this. There we go. Yeah, so right now, the downtown South Arizona Avenue Corridor Area Plan does recommend 0 to 6 dwelling units per acre. That's what you're seeing in the large yellow area, and they're proposing to amend the area plan for 12 to 14 units per acre, specifically for townhomes. And as we looked at the area plan and then compared it with the 2016 general plan, we saw the further guidance in the general plan to continue to redevelop downtown with higher densities, mixed use, and transit-oriented developments. Also to promote the revitalization of vacant parcels. This site is located just at the fringe of our growth area 1, downtown Chandler. So we didn't want the density to be as high as downtown, but we thought the 12 to 14 was appropriate for the reason that we do want to raise densities per the general plan. Also, here you'll see that surrounding the property to the west, we have existing multifamily zone properties where 18 units per acre is currently permitted, or a rezoning for PAD, as you can see to the southwest, for 17 units per acre is already developed or permitted. So the 12 to 14 is still coming in under that 18 units per acre.
Thank you very much. And so you worked with the neighborhood, and everybody in the neighborhood was notified of this, and you took their feedback, and everyone was okay with this?
Through the mayor, the typical neighborhood outreach process was followed by the applicant. They did host the neighborhood meetings. We didn't receive many questions about density, not opposition statements directly to myself about density, more so small comments about the design, and the applicant did respond to those.
And these are for sale, right, townhomes?
That is what the applicant has shared with me.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for working with the neighborhood and the presentation. I don't know if Councilmember Ellis had questions.
Mayor,
Councilmember Ellis.
thank you. My questions was already answered. Derek was so kind to call me this afternoon and answered all my questions, so I'm good. Thank you.
And Councilmember Rowe, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Can we see the diagram of the layout? One of the things that I have a question about is that HOAs have been restricted on a greater level. Almost every year there's some new restriction. And so can you point out where the regular parking is that has been created? Because there's no in front of the structure parking. That's not big enough for a car to pull in. That's about a 5-foot driveway. So
Sure.
can you show me where the other parking is for all of those units outside of that?
Sure. Through the mayor, councilman, here's the site layout. And here I've circled the additional parking spaces for guests or for additional resident vehicles. We have 18 on-site shared parking spaces. And then as the developer improves Commonwealth, there will be an additional, it looks like 14 unstriped parking spaces on the street. The site's been designed so those front units they can be walked right up to, so it makes on-street parking much more convenient than typical parts of Chandler. So combined, there's 32 additional parking spaces, and then each unit will have the 2 inside their garages covered.
So on 14 and 6, those units are actually facing those areas?
I'm sorry, the 14, 5, 6, 3, and 4, that's just quantifying the number of parking spaces in those areas. And the front row of units, the front walk-up door does face the on-street parking.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And Vice Mayor again.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but maybe, so I don't forget, make sure we get some electric vehicle charging stations in this. And yeah, I'm not gonna let it slide. And maybe love to find out where the kids are gonna play when we see this come by in the future.
Council, any additional questions with this? All right, thank you. Our next item called in by Councilmember Ellis, item number 12. North Price Stables.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Harley Melhorn, Junior Planner. Before you is PLH 2111, North Price Stables Use Permit Extension. This request is for a property located south of the southeast corner of Elliott and Price Roads. This use permit extension request is to continue to allow the boarding of horses within a residential zone that exceeds the by right maximum. For a parcel of this size, 9 are permitted by right. They are requesting to continue to board up to 22. Furthermore, riding stables on parcels smaller than 10 acres require use permit approval. A little bit of background regarding this request. They have been in operation for well over a decade and have received 4 previous use permit approvals. Once in 2009 for the original, in 2010 and 2013 for each 3-year, and in 2016 for a 5-year. The horses are currently used for psychotherapy sessions, which means no riding. This is known as equine assisted psychotherapy. The staff includes licensed healthcare professionals and equine specialists. Those treated include, but are not limited to, veterans, first responders, and those struggling with mental health and addiction. A neighborhood meeting was held on April 26th of this year at which 4 residents attended to express their adamant support for the project. 5 additional residents have reached out directly to staff, 3 of which have provided letters that are attached to the staff memo tonight. Staff is unaware of any opposition to this request.
Councilman Morales.
I again pulled this one out because it really spoke to my heart as a mental health nurse when I saw this, and I thought, what a great resource we have in our community, and most people probably don't know about it. And to go from 9 horses to 22, which tells me that they will be able to help more people in our community. Thank you so much for granting this permit based on all the things that were asked and provided by the client. At this time, I really would like to say again, kudos to you all.
Thank you, council member.
I think Councilmember Orlando and myself have been here between the two of us every previous one. And I think previously, I mean, the neighbors were a little more concerned. What that says to me now is they have, I guess, earned the right in that neighborhood to exist without complaint. So I think that's been a positive thing. I know they've addressed flies in the past and what they've done with some changes. I've heard that that's addressed. So I'm really pleased that this will continue. Any other additional comments related to this? Okay, thank you.
Well, Councilmember Harris is an Aquarian.
He legally doesn't have anything to say right now. And item number 16 by Vice Mayor Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. You worked that in there. That was good. Yeah, if I could just get some, well, I think Don, you've got something ready for us on this one.
There you go.
You ready to go?
And Matt, you know how to start these, right?
Yep. Mayor and Council, good evening, citizens of Chandler. Tonight we'll give you an overview of the tentative budget for fiscal year 2020-21, or 21-22, sorry, and discuss the 2022 to 31 Capital Improvement Program, or CIP. I would like to note that I've combed through this budget and it doesn't include any Velcro. I was recently made aware that that's a total ripoff, so we excluded that. We do want to share some key budget dates that are coming up with you, though. First off, the budget and CIP that we discussed tonight is scheduled for final adoption on June 10th. And there'll be a public hearing on June 10th and the 24th for the property tax levy for 21-22. While tonight's presentation is a very high-level presentation, it's intended to give citizens a broad view of the budget and CIP, but of course, more detailed information is available on chandleraz.gov/budget. So our budget theme this year is moving forward together and reflects the desire to overcome the struggles of the past year that we've seen and focus on moving toward mayor and council-led initiatives and goals. We demonstrate this ability to move forward through following council strategic goals and objectives, following our strong financial policies and capital improvement program development guidelines, and providing multiple opportunities for engagement in the budget process for all who are interested. For example, the budget survey, our workshops, the budget input time, and council meetings such as this. To make it official, the proposed budget for fiscal year 2021-22 is $1,058,074,338. This amount is a 13.6% increase from the current fiscal year 2020-21 adopted budget, which was just over $931 million. This increase does include about $36 million in anticipated grant funding through the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. Without those anticipated federal dollars, the increase would have been about 9.7%, more than half of which is related to capital. This includes all funds, our operating, capital, debt service, and contingencies and reserves, and the budget maintains our strong financial position, added contingency to address grant opportunities, adds additional infrastructure improvements, and continues our strong reserves. The proposed fiscal 21-22 total operating budget is 17.7% higher than the current fiscal year. Much of that related to the debt service increases anticipated with SDF, or System Development Fee loan repayments, as well as increased contingency and reserves for the ARPA and other grants. It includes funding for general merits and markets, as well as association commitments. The vacancy saving rates has been reduced. A number of decision packages are included, both one-time and ongoing. Continued commitments to public safety pension unfunded liability paydown is included at $22 million. Regular contingencies and reserves were included, and the council amendments have also been included. The long-term operating forecast manages slow increases in costs with slow revenue growth. And some highlights of that includes a proposed slight reduction in the city property tax rate that will help to minimize the 6.8% increase in limited assessed values, and no change in the transaction privilege tax rates. This includes 9 positions overall in the general fund. Of note, the positions that the police department discussed in their staffing plan are not shown in this total, as they are anticipated to be funded from grants for the first few years. It continues to plan a reduction to the PSPRS unfunded liability debt, reducing employer rates sooner and freeing up ongoing revenues for future years. Additionally, this budget maintains strong reserves, including the 15% general fund contingency reserve and the $10 million budget stabilization reserve. I want to remind citizens that Chandler has some of the lowest costs for providing essential services of all Valley cities. A study conducted by the City of Tempe in 2020 compared utility costs, sales tax, and property tax costs for a typical home, and Chandler was the second lowest in that survey at $1,798 per year, well below the average annual cost of $2,137. This is great news for our residents, as it shows we're able to provide the quality services they desire while keeping our tax and utility rates low. And on the next slide, if you isolate just the utility portion, you see that Chandler has the lowest utility costs compared to our neighboring communities. While there are anticipated increases to water, wastewater, solid waste, and reclaimed water rates pending the finalization of a cost of service study, Chandler will still have very reasonable residential utility rates when compared to other Valley cities. The second part of tonight's discussion is an overview of the 10-year Capital Improvement Program, or CIP. As we move forward to Chandler's future and strive to maintain or improve the quality of life for our residents, it is vital that we continue to provide well-designed and maintained infrastructure and amenities. This CIP continues Mayor and Council priorities of minimizing property tax increases, maintaining existing infrastructure, finishing planned construction of parks and southwest arterial streets, limiting new projects that add operations and maintenance while still addressing public needs. The plan also continues a higher emphasis on maintaining aging streets, parks, utilities, facilities, and technology and communication infrastructure, as well as adding new requested projects, such as the Cooper Road extension, a police forensic facility, and all phases of Mesquite Groves Park, to name a few. The total 10-year capital plan is $1.27 billion, a 9% increase over the prior 10-year capital plan. The proposed CIP budget for fiscal year 21-22 that will be appropriated is $369 million and is made up of 3 components: a small lump sum reserve of $250,000, capital carry forward funding of $255.5 million, as very few capital projects start and end in the same fiscal year. To keep this appropriation, state law requires that unspent appropriation be reappropriated by council for the following fiscal year, and new project funding of $113.3 million for our total of $369 million. The fiscal year 21-22 proposed CIP is 6.7%, or $23.2 million more than the prior year. There are more projects being carried forward this year compared to the prior year, as some current year projects were delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, some fiscal considerations. As we conclude the presentation this evening, we'd like to note that formulating the fiscal plan for each year comes with numerous challenges and opportunities, and this year added a new level of complexity. The economy is in recovery mode, but we still have certain industries that have been significantly impacted by the COVID-19 outbreak, and we hope to see continued growth for them this year. Maintaining service levels and quality infrastructure in the most cost-effective way continues to be vital, especially within an environment in which we are seeing increased construction costs. The budget will allow us to be flexible should additional funding from grants be made available to assist during these continued times of uncertainty. There are still legislative actions that could affect the city's revenues, and they're still being considered. The wonderful news announced earlier this year about Intel's expansion is fantastic, and those impacts will be seen gradually over the next few years. Needs in many areas, including the police department, have been identified, and sustainable funding plans are needed to ensure these funds are met in a fiscally responsible way. In short, fiscal year 21-22 will allow us to move forward while assessing the unknowns and review options to fund long-term needs in a sustainable manner. A happy medium, if you will. Again, Mayor and Council, for your consideration tonight is the tentative adoption of the fiscal year 21-22 budget and the 22-31 CIP, including the budget amendments as approved in the special meeting held May 13th. Additional information about the budget or the budget process can be found on our website or by contacting the budget office directly. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you for any questions or comments.
Vice Mayor, did you start with any questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Great presentation as always. I know you guys have done your due diligence. A couple of crystal ball questions that I've got for you. With the 13% increase for this year, will that mean that we'll be maybe flat or just maybe a minor tick? Because we're recouping basically a flat budget, or we were down like almost 10% last year because we froze everything because of COVID. Do you see the 22-23 budget being a little bit softer as it relates to the increase? 13 is a pretty big gulp, but when you factor in the previous year, it's about 6, right? If you split the 2 years.
Yeah, through the Mayor, Vice Mayor, I think we will definitely see some flattening, although each year comes with its, new needs and new projects that fall off. So each year kind of fluctuates pretty sporadically. But this year we see such a large increase. We're coming off a COVID year where we had significant reductions in the budget. And so bringing it back to kind of a full budget, if you will, does show kind of a more significant increase than we'll see going year over year.
Great. Can I get something that kind of shows me the increases over the past? I know we'll probably do that in our all-day budget briefing, but maybe just something that's on a slide. I can get it offline. And then I'm really kind of curious about what you just mentioned about lumber costs and things like that. The CPI last month was 4.1%, which is insane. Inflation's here because of the quantitative easing from last year, $6 trillion. Are you guys factoring that into this budget?
Through the Mayor, Vice Mayor, that's an excellent point. A lot of that is not incorporated into the construction costs for our capital plan currently. We do have contingencies built into our capital plan. Whether they'll be enough to cover some of these increases we're seeing, it just depends on what the market demands when we go out to bid for these different construction.
So we should be expecting in the upcoming agendas some requests for maybe a little bit of a bump in budget for particular projects. Like, for example, the fence that we have appropriated just here recently in this, what we just talked about, that could end up being 10% more or something like that.
Yeah, through the Mayor, Vice Mayor, that's exactly what we have that contingency built in that council will have discretion to be able to utilize, so we have some flexibility there.
Y'all are on it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Council, any additional questions? Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, back to the horses. I wanted to get a yeehaw. That's kind of what I was waiting for, but inside joke, y'all. Yeah, good later. But anyways, the budget. I think we went through the budget. We had an all-day budget meeting that's available online for people to review and watch.
Through the Mayor, Councilmember Harris, I don't believe it's available online to watch, but all the notes for that meeting are available to the public through the clerk's office.
And our tentative budget, what we plan on proposing to approve, is available online right now.
Through the Mayor, Councilmember Harris, that's correct. So the tentative adoption is tonight. So they'll be able to view this information as well as see the PowerPoint information. And then we have another chance for public input on the final adoption, which will happen in June.
Okay, and have we set a date in June yet, or we just know that it's going to?
We have, it's June 10th.
June 10th, okay. I just wanted to make sure we put that information out for everyone to be able to, hey, you have the power to provide input into this budget. We had an all-day budget meeting, and we were able to talk to various directors and listen to their needs. And I know that that's probably available for many to see, but I wanted to make sure that our budget process is very, very, very open. And as you said, we have already combed through it, and there was no Velcro. So thank you.
Councilmember Lopez.
And what was the website they can see it at?
It's chandleraz.gov/budget.
Matt, I think you mentioned twice tentative adoption tonight. Actually, it's Thursday that we'll be adopting this, so.
Correct. Yep. Thank you, Mayor.
Questions to my left? Comments? All right. Thank you. Well, Council, that is all of the items that you called in. So we'll be convening again on Thursday. And until then, thank you. And that adjourns our meeting.